Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're here with another book report on a book by Mr. Kellett. Wait a minute. What book do you guys have?
We have A Teacher of Strange Things, a new work of nonfiction.
So wait, we're not doing another book report on Limina? Because I'm ready for this one.
Ooh,
No.
Nate. My friend, you appear to have forgotten the rules of the Popish Plot book review.
What? They can't be a declared saint.
Okay.
And while we don't doubt the holiness of Kellett, he is still alive and therefore not
can't
a
be a
canonized
saint.
saint. And two, we do books that Jess and I have read that you have not.
Sometimes I just read it.
Son
Even
of
if
a-
I give you like a month notice.
Son of a gun.
Or in one case, 16
I was really
years
excited.
notice.
I'm almost done with this one.
Stay tuned in another 2 or 3 months for our bonus episode of Nate's review of Ad Limina.
So tell me about A Teacher of Strange Things.
Well, one, it has a picture of a hand on it that looks really pink in pictures. So like when I'm looking at it on Goodreads, I'm like, that's not the book I'm reading. And I'm like, oh wait, yes it is.
Well, what's nice about this is, about the cover is the scriptures only record Jesus writing once in the sand.
Yes. It looks to me though like he could use a little sun.
They probably just grabbed whoever staff member they had and said, "Here, go write in the sand."
You have a nice looking hand. Yeah.
Though I do like that in the Bible that whenever, there's something super big and important that he does, they never record what it is as far as he wrote in the sand. He explained all the scriptures to these people. Details? Nah.
We want to leave some mystery. Jesus wants us to work for it a little bit.
You don't need the mystery. He explained all the scriptures.
Listen. One day John's going to point out how he can't write everything in all the books we have, so it's good.
It'll be fine. There wouldn't be room in all the world. No, but so there are many things that I liked about A Teacher of Strange Things. The first is the structure.
Okay.
As the subtitle says, who Jesus was, what he taught, and why people still follow him.
Okay.
And then, in an amazing bit of synergy, the book is organized along those 3 questions.
So kind of like 3 parts?
Yeah. Part 1, who Jesus was. Part 2, what Jesus taught. Part 3, why people still follow Jesus. And in what I think is a very appropriate division, Part 1, who Jesus was, is as big as parts, or actually bigger than parts 2 and 3 combined. Because Christianity is not principally a moral philosophy. Christianity is the encounter with the living person of Jesus Christ. And who Jesus is
far more...
the whole game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And I liked it, even though I finished it many months ago, and it just took a while for it to get into rotation where we all had our book and we all read it, except for Nate.
Except for me. I'm sorry, Mr. Kellett.
There were parts that actually gave a idea that I had not heard before about a Bible passage. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As a lot of it, you expect it to be kind of elementary level stuff.
Well, it is. It is very much meant to be an introduction to Jesus for people who either have not encountered him people who have heard of him but not encountered him, or people who haven't even heard of him and definitely haven't encountered him.
Yes. Like this is a book that I could see giving to someone who, is your friend who only knows about, Christianity from, well, there's Christmas and there's the holiday in the spring and something about crosses. Maybe you hate vampires. I don't remember.
Yeah. There's God, and then there's Jesus, who's the Son of God, and I don't know how the whole thing really works.
Like, in the beginning, there were a few parts where I'm like, is he going to go too deep of insider language?
Is he going to zig? Is he going to zag? What's going on?
And it was something where I'm like, all right, I don't think it would be at the level where if a beginner would, like, completely lose it. Like, it's really hard for someone who's been Christian for years and years to not, get a bit deep. But it's like, it then pulled out enough that I'm like if I was reading this book and it was about some other, religion, I'd be like, all right, I'm starting to glaze over a tiny bit. Oh, wait, nope, this is stuff that's not too deep for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, he's gesturing to the fact that there's always more without giving people more than they can handle. Mm-hmm. But one of his central theses is that Jesus' life commands an answer. The only question in the world that truly matters is the question Jesus asked of the disciples, who do you say that I am? And everything else hinges on what your answer to that question is. Jesus isn't just a teacher. He's more than that. And pointing out that Jesus introduces us to a bigger and broader world. That the encounter with Christ is an encounter with 3 different levels of the world. That there's the spiritual world. That there is, in fact, more to the world than just what we see. More than just, as Yoda called it, this crude matter.
Only probably in backwards syntax.
Indeed. Indeed. Because there's a lot of Gnostic nonsense in Star Wars. Yoda was wrong in the way he was asserting it.
Yes.
But there's also the fact that Jesus, while there's more to it than just what we see, the call of Jesus is universal. It's for all people. It's not just for WASPy folks, or it's not just for those of us who are WASPs in everything except the P. White Anglo-Saxon Catholics. The call of Jesus is for all people in all times. It is for everyone everywhere. And that Jesus didn't just come to teach things, and he didn't just come to die. He also came with an important mission to found a new community to which everyone can belong. And that community is the church.
Yes, which reminds me, I could also see, we know people who have been Christian their whole life, who tend to like, I'm going to say, shallow in stuff.
That was me for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, we know ones who are actually like disciples, but they're not going to read the Summa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, it also works, probably pretty good for them, because I can picture people that would be like, this is good stuff, because, they like being reminded of the basics.
Yeah, well, we all need to be reminded of the basics. We all need to be reminded of the fundamentals, because every now and again, there's so much cool stuff in Catholicism that it is easy to get lost in, sort of the add-ons instead of the core of the faith. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we all need to go back to that well all the time. Just Jesus, 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 Jesus. Then in part 2, there is a discussion of what Jesus taught. Because, of course, it's not enough. Once you know who Jesus is, it is then up to you how you respond to that call. Do you say, oh, well, that's neat, and carry on your merry way? Or do you have a life-changing encounter with the Lord and thereafter set forth to pattern yourself after him? There's a quote I liked. He, meaning Jesus, is not just a moral teacher. He is the giver of a gift, divine love. And the moral life that he teaches flows from this gift. I mean, if Jesus was just a teacher, he would still be the world's greatest teacher. But there's so much more than that he wants to give us. We all died when we were baptized. The old self was drowned in the waters. And we rose to new life. And the reason why so much of the world doesn't believe is how many of us act like it? How many of us are living the divine life that God is actively giving us? How often are we actually accepting that gift and letting it bring us to life? And then in part 3, dear to my heart, Sai uses the person of St. Peter as the model for how you live the Christian life, why people still follow Jesus today, and what that encounter with him looks like.
Well, Peter's a good example because, the Bible doesn't, gloss over his faults.
It pulls no punches.
Given one of them was probably written by his scribe, it's like, really?
Well, no, I mean, if the church fathers are correct that Mark's gospel is what Peter was preaching, I'm sure Mark is sitting there. Do you want me to write this part down? And Peter's like, yes, write that part down. You don't look good, I know, but it's the truth. People need to know that if God can work with me, he can work with you.
Maybe that's why Mark is a shortest. He cut out the worst parts.
So we'll just put down the one time you denied him, right? No, I told you all 3. We have Jesus saying that I would deny him 3 times. We need to go and talk about all 3 times. You sure? Because I mean, we could do the one, and then we could just be like, and he did it 2 other times.
Well, I especially like if that's the way it went down, and the theory is correct that the naked young man is Mark. Peter's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna write everything. Oh, come on! Don't make me put that in there. No, that's what happened. You're gonna put that in there.
See, although I don't think it's as historically likely, I like the theory that it's Lazarus that's still wandering around in his clothes from when he was dead. Just like that was how many chapters ago? Come on, change.
Boss.
Your sisters care about you.
This is cozy.
No, I like Mike's one where, boss, come on, not that. Yes, that it happened.
No, the thing that you don't want to put in there is the thing that needs to be in there.
But what good does that do? Trust me, it's the part that it needs.
It's going to confuse people for millennia. It's going to be great. So the life of Peter, and thus the life of every Christian, follows a 4-fold pattern. First, there is the encounter with Christ.
All right.
You have to meet Jesus.
Sure.
And by that I don't mean learn the 10 Commandments, although that's good. It doesn't mean memorize the precepts of the church, though that's good too. It doesn't mean study the catechism, though that's good too. Mm-hmm. You have to have an encounter with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, okay.
Then you undergo conversion. And this is an ongoing process that each of us needs to undergo, because it's not just when Nate ceased being a Calvinist and became a Catholic. Conversion is each of us every day conforming ourselves being conformed more and more to the person of Jesus.
Yeah.
Becoming more like him. Next, there is communion. Because Jesus just doesn't want to be our teacher. He doesn't just want to be our God, though he is both those things. He no longer calls us slaves, he calls us friends. He wants the most intimate friendship with each of us. God wants to be your friend. And then there is mission. Jesus was sent by the Father. He then sends us. If we are his friends, we're going to go and do just what he did. As he says, we're going to do greater things than these.
All right.
That's what Peter did. That's what each one of us is called to do. That's what Sia Kellett has done in this book. I like it.
So one day I could flip over a table?
Yes. I feel that this is a motivation that Jessica needs to know that one day it may be her time to make a whip of cord and flip over a table. I'm not going to take that prospect away from her because, it might be. There might be a moment.
Hey, for all we know, on the other side of the veil, she'll get there and God will be like, and because I know you've been waiting so long.
One day her guardian angel is going to appear, full apparition. Now.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like at the end of the church event where the guy was folding all the tables up. You got to flip them over to get the legs.
You said flip a table. You should have been more specific.
Anyway, we were talking about this book. Maybe?
A teacher of strange things. One of those strange things is you may need to upset a table every now and again. No, but what I really love about this title is, all of us consume a lot of Word on Fire content here. Mm-hmm. Bishop Barron always inveighing against beige Catholicism.
2/3 of us consume a lot of Word on Fire content.
But we've all been exposed to an extremely dull, extremely not at all compelling Jesus. And that's not who the Lord is. He's both God and man simultaneously.
I don't think we should besmirch a bishop's evangelistic network on this show.
I don't think she was besmirching. She was just saying.
You were saying we've consumed a lot of this, and then you go to beige. He's
always inveighing against the beige Catholicism.
Okay, just making sure because I didn't want people to get the wrong idea.
We're not saying that. We're saying he goes against it, and I prefer different transcendentals than him.
There you go. There we go. I
don't care if it's beautiful. Is it true?
Jess is a big one about truth. I respect that. I support that.
Speaking of which, we should state the truth that we totally got all 3 copies, including Nate's that is still wrapped in cling wrap, free from the author because he liked when 2/3 of us went and talked about his other book.
Wait. My copy. You told me this was like a copy we were going to give away or something.
Well,
I could just read your copy when you got done with it.
We assumed you were never going to read it, so.
It's still wrapped. It could be anyone's copy. It's Schrodinger's book right now.
It could be your copy. You could have my copy.
It's not like Nate's going to be using it.
I'll just steal one of your copies.
Hey, One Flesh Union. Her book is your book.
That's right.
I might have licked it.
Sorry. I'll just steal
mine
one of
now.
your copies.
You're welcome to borrow my copy.
It's got highlights in it, so
Darn
you know
you.
what's important.
No,
No, you know when I had my highlighter with me and when I only had a pencil. I wish I was consistent, but I'm not.
yeah, and I never really cared for that whole rule of buying used textbooks because you could then go and see what other people had highlighted. Because I quite often found that I ended up with a book that was owned by a moron.
No, I only ever bought used textbooks because they were cheaper.
Yes, they're cheaper, and I like that. But the highlighting is just getting in the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes-
I don't know this person.
Sometimes I highlighted things just because.
Yeah, Jess is doing it to mess with people.
This one will perplex you for like 3 weeks.
Why
I'm trying to figure out why that's so
Yeah,
important.
they're just going to scream in the book, why would you highlight that? So, whether you have been for many, many years a devout churchgoer, whether you're just a seeker and are wondering, maybe there's something to this Jesus fellow, or whether you were raised Catholic and you're one of those people who says, hey, I went to 12 years of Catholic school, so I know what's what. A Teacher of Strange Truth?
Strange
Strange
Things.
Things is a great book for you. Well done, Cy. Well done. And of course, this one doesn't say Cyril Jones Kellett, but it's just fun to say Cyril Jones Kellett.
It really should.
Well, he's known on the radio as Cy because it's simpler.
Yeah, which is why the pen name would work great.
Well, but at the same time,
It's not a pen name if it's your name.
you
Here's if it's not the name everybody knows you by.
but you want this to be the commonly known name. People are like, hey, I know him from the radio.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Yep. A Teacher of Strange Things. Good stuff. Nate, thoughts?
I'm sorry, Mr. Kellett. I'll try to do better.
No. Does this sound like the sort of book that you'd enjoy?
Yes, of course it does.
Excellent. It's not because he doesn't want to read the book. He just doesn't have very much time to read.
He
I
needs
really
to wait till
don't.
next year, so this is his one book for next year.
Exactly.
It's really about where I'm at. I'm at about like 2 books a year. I'd like to read more, but if I'm lucky, that's about where I get to.
Well, due to various things we're not going to discuss on the show, hopefully soon you'll have more free time to read.
Okay.
Certain Knight's responsibilities.
Oh, yes. Hopefully that'll give me more time to read.
Yeah. So, comment below with a particular encounter you've had with Jesus or a particular question that has always puzzled you.
Mine is, what did he write in the sand? And also, why
did
did
he
they
write?
write down the road to Emmaus? Why did they not take notes? Even afterwards. Like, we should jot that down. That seemed important.
Oh, and where the heck is Emmaus?
Exactly.
It's far enough away that you can walk there and back.
I mean, they're probably running on the way back. I'd run at that point.
Sure. And give this episode a like, subscribe to our channel, ring the church bell to be notified the next time we review a book that Nate hasn't read, or post another sort of episode. And until next time, remember to
Live your faith.
Love your faith.
share that love.
Why? Why didn't they write it down?
Why separate knob? Why?